Hey guys, Static here, and today on Dungeon Guide we're going to be covering Veteran Hard Mode Vaults of Madness. Here we are in Vaults of Madness. Now this is actually one of my favorite dungeons for a few reasons. The first one being just the visuals of this dungeon. It's some of the best in the game and I really enjoy that. I also enjoy a lot of the boss fights in this dungeon, being that they actually have really interesting mechanics that you don't see on a lot of the other dungeons. Another aspect I really enjoy about this dungeon is the vast diversity of all the mobs throughout it. It's a long dungeon, so by the time you get to the end, you'll have seen a lot of different monsters with their own interesting mechanics. For example, right away you have these Watchers with an interesting knockback effect that you have to block or dodge roll out of it. They also shoot beams out of the front of them which can stun you, so watch out for that. This first boss is the reason most people do not have a no-death run on this dungeon. It should be noted that this boss is terribly easy if you understand how to operate his mechanics. The first rule of thumb is the only AoE you place is on the adds. You do not place any underneath this boss. The reason being he has a charged attack here. That beam that you see right here is connected to one party member. Any damage you do to this boss while this beam holds reflects tenfold to the party member. This includes any AoEs or dots previously placed, so you really need to be careful and patient. As soon as the beam goes down, that's when you make your move and burn hard before he gets the chance to put up the beam a second time. This boss is actually quite easy. All he does is light attacks to the tank. It's just that no one understands the way this boss's mechanic works. So just watch for the beam, come into the fight knowing that you cannot place dots and AoEs, and you'll burn this boss right down. Just be patient. It's imperative that before you engage this boss, your entire party is present at the end of the bridge. The reason being that when this boss is engaged, both bridges on either side of this platform become engulfed in flames. This is another boss fight that can be a pain unless you understand the mechanics. The first thing that she'll do is just turn and shoot a ball at one player. You can dodge roll or block this. The next attack is this wall of flames, which is why your tank should be pointing the boss away from the rest of the group. You'll notice on the left of the screen that Wiko gets picked up in the air and CC'd. She can't break free out of this, and she'll remain this way until you destroy all of the balls that appear around the platform. None of this boss's attacks do too much damage, but I've still seen groups wipe here because their healer gets picked up in the air and they don't know how to release them. So call it out in chat if you're CC'd, destroy those balls, and free me. I just want to quickly point out that these Ogrims in the mobs, when they get low on health, they'll start a channeled attack and that will actually heal them, so that can be interrupted. You can skip this next group in front of you just by hugging this left wall around the corner. The next mob around this corner showcases the diversity I was talking about earlier. In one single mob, you have a Flame Atronach with flame abilities, you have archers with arrow sprays and volleys, you have dragon knights with chains and standards, you even have nightblades with soul tethers and ambushes. So there's a lot of diversity in these pools, and it kind of makes for a fun experience. On this next boss, we're going to show you how to really cut down on the time it takes to complete this fight. You'll notice the adds in this room are really spread out and they take a while to burn down. So what you do here is pull everything down to the end of the room, past the boss, and line of sight everything into this small space and just burn all of the adds down. This boss has three main mechanics. He summons skeletons, he has a frontal foot stomp, and then he also has this charge attack. If you choose to fight this boss out in the open room where he originally was, this is really annoying as it's kind of buggy, and even though you're not standing in the red circles he leaves when he charges, you'll still get knocked over. However, back in this room, your tank can just point him into the corner and you can just easily burn him down. Another reason this dungeon is hard to get a no-death run on is because there's plenty of places to fall down. Now our tank here was going for a no-death run, and there he goes down the hole. This ruins our no-death run and we have to start all over. So if you see holes, watch your step.
That's going in the video.
If your group has problems with the little holes, then hold on to your britches. Look at this. I want some of what the architect of this place is having. Just be smart while running here. No sprinting, no jumping, just walk slowly off of each ledge and you'll be fine. This is another one of those spread out pulls that just takes too long to burn down for my liking. So check this trick out. Have your entire party tuck really tight behind this coffin right here and watch as everything just gathers up for you. Before engaging Grothdarr, once again make sure your entire party is present as this bridge will become engulfed in flames. Grothdarr's main mechanic are these roaming lava swirls on the ground. Just touching one doesn't hurt a whole lot, but stand in one for too long and it could be death. The only other mechanics Grothdarr has are light attacks, heavy attack, overhand smashes which stun, and then a conal attack, so have your tank position him to point away from the group. As with so many boss fights in this dungeon, everything is just spread out all over the place. So we're going to use this room on the left here to pull the boss along with every ad in this room and line of sight them all into this small area and burn everything down in a quarter of the time it would take to clear everything out in the open. The boss itself has two main mechanics, the first being a fireball that he'll just shoot at a random party member, which leaves an AoE underneath your feet. His next attack is a flaming conal attack, so have your tank point him away from the rest of the group. This next area is the first jump. Now if you're going for a no death, go easy and go off the middle. If you speed off to the right, look at what happens here. There goes your no death run. Here in this area, I'm going to once again share with you a way to really cut down on the length of time it takes to make these clears. Once again, only do this if you know your group has massive AoE potential to be able to handle this. Have your group pull everything on all 3 floors, run past the boss up to this staircase, turn, and this is where you make your stand. Drop every AoE in the book here and make sure your healer is laying it on thick. At this point you're just kind of letting the AoE tick on that boss, but you're really focusing on burning down the ads. His first attack is a ranged AoE, which take a while to hit the ground, so you should have time to get out of the way. The rest of his attacks are just like regular Watchers. He has the stunning beams out the front of him, and then he has an AoE spin attack, which rather than knocking you back, actually ramps up in damage over time, turning this fight into a DPS check of sorts, as if it takes your group too long to burn him down, this spin attack may become too much to handle for your group. If these pulls prove to be too much for your group, it's no shame in just taking it easy, clearing each level one by one, and then taking the boss on afterwards. This next guy looks a lot more impressive than his mechanics actually are. He specializes in flame attacks and also knockbacks, which are just more of an annoyance than anything else. He'll leap up into the air and come straight back down. This is his knockback. His next attack is this line of flames that he points at a random target. Other than his random fireballs towards people, these are his only mechanics. Sometimes when he goes up into the air, he's not going for his immediate knockback, but he's actually going to pick a new target and fly to them. It's worth mentioning that these knockbacks are actually a little buggy, and there's times that you're totally outside of the red circle, but you still get knocked down. Here's the second jump. This one's pretty cool. Once again, for a no death run, you want to go easy off the edge. You don't want to dodge roll with a bow and sprint off the edge like I do here, as you could splat off one of the platforms on the way down. You instead want to walk slowly off the edge so you drop in the middle of the lake at the bottom safely. When you've reached this long fragmented bridge, you've come to the last area. Careful here, someone always falls. If you do, just use the left staircase that leads up to the boss area. Before engaging this boss, make sure you activate hard mode by reading the scroll here. I absolutely love this fight. I think it has some of the coolest visual effects in the game. The first thing this boss does is summon ads. Most of these ads are just skeletons and they don't do a lot of damage, but the mages on the other hand can fear you at inopportune moments, so it's a good idea to burn them down immediately. Between summons and the boss's 2 main mechanics, which we haven't covered yet, this is pretty much just a tank and spank. He just light attacks the tank, and the tank just blocks. When the altars glow purple, it's time for one of the main mechanics. For this one, you want to get out of that ring in the center. He summons souls up from the ground, and it will kill you in a hurry if you're standing in it. You never know which attack this is going to be. It could be the souls, or it could be this one, which is the window shatter. In this one, you actually want to get into the circle for safety rather than out. Not only do I love the visuals of these attacks, but I really like that you're not sure which one's coming, and it keeps you on your toes. Definitely one of the coolest fights in the game. Thanks for checking out the video, guys. Please smash that like and subscribe button below for future content releases. I really appreciate the support everybody's been showing me. So I want to just say thank you to each and every one of you. It really means a lot to me. See you guys later and catch you next time.